No, I think thank you so much, Mayowa, for accepting my invitation. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
our viewers, wherever you're watching from. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from the US, from Nigeria, France, Germany, wherever you're watching. As you can see from the title of the video, today we're going to speak about Sunday Igboho. And I have Mayowa, she's an expert, she's a social commentator. So her opinion are very important. I've been following you and I see a lot of the comments you make about social issues. So I want us to discuss Sunday Igboho. It's a hot topic now. But before we go into that, let me just give us a very brief background about how Sunday Igboho came about and a certain fallacy, certain perception that people have about his personality, the movement he's creating, and what are the implications of such movement. What is the reality? What is the myth? What is the biases that we unconsciously hold? Now, before this, I want to make this clear that neither Sunday Igboho nor the Nigerian government are wrong or right in what they are doing. We need to look at it from the clearer and bigger perspective of who is wrong, what went wrong, when, and what happened in the process. Now, Sunday Igboho, I personally describe him as an opportunist because of the whole situation that is happening. If you look critically into what is happening, first of all, we have to look at the background of how the Fulani people came on. We have to acknowledge that there is attack, that this Fulani attack you're talking about is true and is real. So what happened initially? The Fulani man with his cow, hundreds of them, he need to find food for them. And the Fulani, for example, they have a nomadic culture where they travel around to feed their cows. And they have to be nomadic for two various reasons. One, they have to change the food constantly. And secondly, they are traveling from one place to another because of diseases to prevent their cows from dying from diseases. So by the process of traveling around from one region to the other in Nigeria, what they end up doing is that they end up trampling upon farming and other maize or yam or other things. So what end up happening is that the local communities are angry. They say, why are Fulani people eating our farm product? So they end up attacking them. So as they attack them, the Fulani people now retaliate. They won't go and call their brothers. And now we have a vicious cycle of attacks from one community to the other, individuals. So the Fulani, first of all, attacking farms because they want to feed their animals. And the community, their host community, will say, no, we don't want you to do this. And they will go and attack them. And the Fulani will come back with revenge and another revenge and a revenge, and the vicious cycle continue. And Nigeria is in crisis right now. So this is the background of the true crisis that we had. And who is Sunday Igboho? Sunday Igboho was a political thug. I learned that he was a mechanic. He has some big mechanic stuff. And he's from a community called Igboho. And he's trying to defend his community from the Fulani attack. That was how he became a hero. And from there, he transitioned to now and be clamoring for an independence of Oduduwa Republic for his people. So this is the background of how Sunday Igboho came up about. And this is the reality of what Fulani conflict with farmers issue started. So we need to look deeply into it. What happened precisely? First of all, it is the failure of governance. Our government have failed to accommodate these people. This is their culture. This is how they know what to do. We need to say, okay, the government need to make a provision where for them, they could be able to say, okay, let us create a ranch, a modern ranching system where you will not trample upon other farming. So we visibly have a failure, a leadership failure in these instances. And also the nomadic culture of the Fulani people needs to be reinvented, need to be looked into. They need a reform system. And then the third one is that we also have an issue of climate change, which Mayowa is very vast about this. I would like to hear your opinion on this. So this is the background. So Sunday Igboho came up with a solution. He said he wants Oduduwa Republic, but that is not enough. That is not enough to say, okay, you want to change everything. We need to look at the root cause of the problem. It's just like mosquito. Let me give you this example. This little anecdote. It's like killing a mosquito constantly because they are coming to suck your blood and not going to dry the drainage where the mosquito are laying their eggs. You can kill 100 of them today, 1,000 of them will come back as long as that drainage is not that water, stagnant water that is making their eggs to grow. So you have to go to this root cause of the problem. You have to go to the source of the problem. And the source of this problem that we need to fix it very importantly. We can't do anything. We can't send these people out of Nigeria because they are part of our culture. They are now part of Nigeria. So we need to make sure, first of all, propose a reform, which is the duty of the government in their nomadic culture. Secondly, we also need to fix the issue of our climate issue. That was a few days ago, Sunday Igboho posted a video of climate change. And in the video, he alleged that Nigeria lost almost 60% of their forest reserve. The forest was destroyed. 60% of the forest was destroyed. And this is a very huge problem, which is pushing the Fulanis to walk around and to look for pasture for their livestock. So aside them being an integral part of us, cow skin has now become, Nigeria is spending almost $400 million annually dollars to import cow leather from China for shoe production, for other stuff. Although Nigeria is also one of the largest leather producers in Africa, where Louis Vuitton and other big brand markers are going to Nigeria to buy skin to produce their shoes and a lot of things. We could develop this industry. We need meat. We cannot be importing meat from the US. So we need to create an atmosphere to accommodate these individuals. So this is the reality. This is where the problem is coming from. We have a problem of people where, one, they are not being accommodated by the government, and secondly, we are not ready to listen to them. And the only solution that Sunday Igboho is providing is a very simplistic situation. Oh, let's cut off from Nigeria. And he tried to bring up some excuses that the nomad people, the Fulani people, are taking off their pod. Let us create our own country. If you create that country, you will still need meat to eat. You will still need cows and everything, So I think what he was proposing is a very simplistic solution that we need to revisit it. We need to look into it. We need to change the way we are looking. We can't afford for Nigeria to break up. Why? Because Nigeria is one of the biggest, the largest black nation on earth. We have the talent. We're dominant in music. We're dominant in sport. We're dominant in everything you can imagine. So we need to nurture this nation, this coming together of this nation that we have grown together now today. So I would like to hear your opinion, Mayowa, on this issue. Or first of all, on Sunday, but I would like to hear what you think about it before I go further to the other question.
Yes, thank you, Ada. In terms of the questions that you posed today, that is Sunday Igboho an opportunist? I first want to look at the definition of an opportunist. I just looked it up. There's some certain words that we use that in your head you know the meaning and you know when to apply it. But I think for everybody to have a basis or to have like a equal understanding of what we're discussing here, I would like to go into the dictionary. So I've just posed that in dictionary, anybody else can do that as well and look at what opportunist means. And here it says a person who takes advantage of opportunities as and when they arise, regardless of planning or principle. For me, the keywords here are planning and principle. Planning and principle. The issue we're dealing with is an issue that impacts many lives. We're not talking of hundreds of people. We're talking of millions, if not even billions, because whatever happens to the most populated area of Africa, which is Nigeria, would also affect other people around the world. So let us not be mistaken that it's only going to affect the 200 million or so of us. It's going to affect all of us everywhere. So that is what an opportunist is for anybody that is listening. So this is the basis that I'm going to discuss this today, is the basis that of this understanding of what an opportunist is. And I'll repeat, a person who takes advantage of opportunities as and when they arise, regardless of planning or principle. So to answer your question directly, I would say yes, that Sunday Igboho, or Sunday whatever his surname is an opportunist. But that is the nature, I would want to say, however, this is the nature of Africa, this is the nature of the majority of people. They latch on to things, they latch on to problems, they don't investigate it properly, they don't plan towards it, they don't think about it. And the purpose of today's program, and hopefully subsequent programs, would be to help people to think about the issues. Okay, in addressing anything in life that is related to humans, we're not addressing it as the human being a problem. We address the problem itself, which is the issue that caused the human to behave in a certain way. So we are like carriers. So we are carrying the actions out of the problem. So the problems that arise, we carry it as to demonstrate the action. So that's how we think about things. And this, I'm especially explaining this to those who have allegiance, people who are emotive, people who make their decisions because of tribe or because of their love for a certain character or their country, their locality, or because of one thing or the other. For me, I can't operate like that, and I don't think as human beings we should operate like that. I live in England, and living in England, I have come to an understanding that we complain about racism. We complain and say Black Lives Matters all over the world in the West, but we are doing worse to each other at home. And I cannot confidently go around the world or be in England saying that Black Lives Matters when people, my neighbors, my people that we've existed together for many years, their lives doesn't matter because of one thing or the other. So this is how I just want us to kind of have a basis, a background, a root for our conversation every time we discuss this, and not be emotive and say, this is what they're doing now. I want to know why they're doing. When I say this is what they're doing, I mean the Fulanis. This is what they're doing now. I want to know what happened, what changed, why they're doing that, and how I can resolve that as a human, not as any tribe or anything else, as prejudicing my decision. So you've rightfully said that, as well as I have acknowledged that Sunday Igboho is an opportunist. You, in your summary or in your introduction, you said that we all agree that the Fulanis, they are killing people, they are destructive in their behavior over the years, and you gave the reasons why you gave your observations. Those are facts, and this is what I want us to have. Anybody that is listening, please, I want you to take responsibility for this conversation, because it's a conversation that I encourage everybody to have. It's not a conversation for experts, it's a conversation for human. So if you consider yourself to be human, you must engage in this conversation, but don't engage in it off the cuff. Engage in it with knowledge, engage with it with depth, engage with it with understanding. Don't just you just want to talk and then you just talk. So we all agree that it is true and it is unnecessary. It is what's the right word? It is wrong for the Fulanis to be going to other neighboring communities or anywhere and destroying the land, destroying the crops, destroying farms, destroying properties and assets of the people that lives there. It is wrong to do that. Everybody agrees with that. We're not shying away from that. We're not saying that what they're doing is wrong. We're not accepting that as a way of living. We're not condoning that. Okay, so let us understand and make it clear that we're not condoning that. We don't accept it. But from the point where we are realizing that this is happening, okay? So first of all, this is happening. We all agree. I don't think the Fulanis would disagree that they did that as well. I don't think anybody would disagree. So we are all in agreement on that alone. So both sides, or all sides, should I say, are in agreement. So what do we do as a human being when we are in disagreement? what currently Sunday Igboho and agitators are doing is that they are all, it's not just Sunday Igboho that is an opportunist, is all agitators are also opportunists. It's almost that it almost feels like they've been waiting for something to go wrong so that they can seize that opportunity to divide us. You know, I cannot join division. I don't choose. I feel like when there is any issues, Nigerians especially, or maybe let me say Nigerians, because this is a Nigerian problem right now, they have a fight or flight mode. There are only two ways. Is either we accept the problem, or we don't accept the problem by any means. And the means is usually violence, is usually separation. But those are not the only options. And this is what I want every thinking person to consider, that the options available to resolve this, first of all, have not been exploited. They've not been exploit. Not exploit, like exploit. Yeah, with a D. So we need to first look at the options that are available. And the only way that we can do that is to take emotions out, okay? To take this hatred that we have, to remove anger. On a normal day, as a human being, already that any decision or anything that you do out of anger is usually wrong. Yes. It usually ends badly. So if I can relate as a human being that if I make a decision based on anger, that would be a decision I may possibly regret in the future. It would be a decision that I would take that might not be the right decision at that point, or there are better decisions. So first thing first is you need to take the anger out. Everybody needs to take the anger out of this. You need to start to see the Fulanis, start to see other people as part of yourself, as part of yourself that you cannot cut off, as part of yourself that you want to improve, as part of yourself that you want to make better, as part of yourself that you're not willing to discard, as part of yourself that you believe in, as part of yourself that you love. If you don't do this, then these problems will continue forever. And if I can be in the West and complain about racism and talk to the Westerners about the Caucasian, the white people, that they should look out, they should stop looking at my color to decide to judge me, then you cannot, wherever you are, also judge the Fulanis based on their tribe or what they or the cultural things that they do. You can educate them, you can love them, you can help them, but you can't go ahead and justify that you hate and want to kill them because they came to destroy your crops or your land. You need to do better. And this is where my stands are. And I have thought about this for a long time. Politics is something that I also have been brainwashed that maybe I should not discuss, or I need some sort of deeper understanding to get into. But when I realized the number of ignorance charlatans that are discussing it, and the level of untruths that are being shared around, and the number of people listening to lies and deception, I felt it's a duty and my responsibility as a human being that happened to be a descendant of Nigeria, that I must speak and speak my truth and speak loud. And I also encourage other people to do the same thing. So go ahead.
Sorry for cutting you short. When you're speaking, I could hear voices of people that will watch this video in the future, or those that are watching us now, rebelling inside of them because you are asking them to do something that they need reasons to do that. For example, they need to understand where you're coming from. For example, you need to give them the economic reason why they need to, first of all, relate with the Fulani people. You also need to give them the political reason why they need to relate with the Fulani people in a more harmonious way. Also, you have to give them the psychological reason why they need to relate with the people, with Fulani people. Also, you also have to add what is the humanistic reason why they need to relate with Fulani people. I think this is what people need to understand. We are not asking you to do something extraordinary. This is very simple for your sanity. You cannot perpetuate hate. That is the humanistic reason where it comes from. Now, people will need reason to love the Fulani to start with, but they will ask you, do the Fulani love us, for example, if they're destroying our crop, if they're raping our women, they're killing our children, they don't love us, so we don't have any reason to love them. So you will need to explain to them why you need to look beyond that, because the Fulani have expressed, for example, I saw a video this morning of a Hausa cleric. I'm ashamed, actually, when I saw it. He was preaching hate. He's calling on people to kill any person that decides to leave Islam. And this is the foundation of Boko Haram. So people watch this video, they see and they hear what these people are saying, and they say, no, we don't have the same value with these people. We cannot cohabit with them, since they are not even interested in cohabiting with them.
Yes, I understand that. And I think that it is a valid response as well, given where they're coming from, where people are coming from, where Nigerians' mindsets are, where they're coming from. That we lack very much the ability to do some of these things. But it's something that we cannot escape, we cannot dodge any longer, because the damages that we're doing to each other is far more than the gains that we have had since we've been agitating, we've been hating each other. So let me break it down in terms of, you know, some of the reasons that you mentioned that
political, economical, psychological, you know, and humanistic. Political.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say that it is for us to be considered as human being, we need to be superior. So we need to be superior to animal. We need to be superior. It's not just by the way that we look that we're a human being. We also have to have the attributes of human being, and the attributes of human being involves a superior human being, empathy. Yeah. So empathy involves several things that we need to look at one by one, but those attributes are vital for us in order for us to win any battle. If it is vital as humans. Okay, let me go into this, and I don't want to be too mushy because I know that Nigerians are very aggressive and they want results right now. I want to tell you that you cannot have results right now. Okay, anything that you do in a haste, right, you're not going to benefit from it for a long time. So you either build a very strong foundation and build on it and have a strong base for life, or you do it in haste and it collapses eventually. Okay, so the only option for me is to have a strong base and build a strong foundation, and that strong base has to go back to you yourself, the individual, in order to develop yourself as human. When I started this conversation, I did say that not everyone that looks like human being are fully developed as human. So your responsibility as a Nigerian or as an individual is to develop as a human and look at what makes you human. Okay, what separates you from animal? You are saying right now that the Fulanis are acting like animal. They love the cows more than they love human. But what you are doing is you're emulating. You consider yourself as human being, but you're emulating what people you are saying that are animals are doing. You're copying what they're doing as an action to retaliate. So by killing them, by attacking them, you need to come up with something superior than that, something advanced than that. So what I'm asking is that you should be advanced enough to start to come together and develop consider, pick, select, create new ways to deal with these people, but it comes from an understanding that you know better, you're more superior, you have better understanding. So I'm going with the basis that you think that you're better, and the Fulani are not developed, they're not educated, because these are some of the pushbacks that I hear, that they're not educated, they love their cow more than they love human being. The cows is their life and all that. What do? Even if you have a domesticated animal, or if you have an animal, you train them. So if you have people around you that are certain ways, you develop them, you train them. So essentially what I'm asking you to do is to show them the right way to do things, is to help them to understand the right way, is to support them like they are your own. When you despise them, you're not going to get any good result after despise. So that has to be the forefront of your mind as an individual that wants to win this battle. That first of all, it starts with me. How is my thinking towards the Fulanis? What can I do to support the Fulanis to understand certain things? How can I show them that this is not the way to behave? So that's the first thing. Take it or leave it. You might think that this is not what is going to work, but this is the way it's going to. You can't jump this staircase. You have to start from the root. So let's go back to the economic aspect.
Before we go into that, I would like to add this, because earlier on in the beginning of this, you made mention of two words. You made mention of plan and principle.
Yes.
Plan and principle. An opportunist is someone who start to do things without any viable plan. So there are so many options. For example, like there are so many options to achieve something without any bloodshed, without any stress, without any chaos. And one of these options is what Mayowa is suggesting now, like thinking, because I know it's so difficult. What you're suggesting is people see it as a very daunting task. They sit down, think, and love these animalistic people, To them it's so difficult. They prefer something that is sensational, something that is emotional, something that they will need somebody to blame for their misfortune. So it's a very big task you're asking people to do now. So because if I understand from the point you gave, you are more of the humanistic aspect of it. You are asking people to see the humane reason why you need to just love the Fulani people. Because if you don't do that, it's for your own sanity. The whole society is going to be in chaos. Look at what Sunday Igboho is doing. He's crippling the economy of Lagos, for example. Okay, before we go into the economic aspect of it, his action is crippling the whole system entirely. Yeah. So please.
Yes, and I completely agree with you that the two aspects where we started from, which is the opportunist, the definition of opportunist, saying lacking planning, and lacking, what's the second thing? Lacking planning and principle. So we don't have any of that at the moment. So somebody slap you, you just slap them back. You don't think, okay, is this person crazy? Does this person have, some sort of defect that just got their hand to slap me just like that? Is the inability to think that has got us this far, and we need to go back to it. We cannot escape that. So the issue now, where we've already identified that the principle is not there and the planning is not there. So what I would prefer everybody to do is, first of all, to start to develop principles within even themselves. Okay? And if you don't develop principle within yourself, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for everything. And I think that this is what everybody is doing now, where, okay, it seems like there's more people on this side, so I'm going to go to that side. But do you yourself know why you're going on that side? Do you yourself know the history? The first question I asked myself when this case started, or this problem started, was, how have we been living together before? How were we enduring before? Were we ever happy or at peace with each other at any point? It's yes that I can say. There was a time that we were happy. We know what they did. They were doing their business, we were doing their business. When I say they, let me go back again. We know what the Fulani did. They rear cows, the headsmen. They do their thing, we do our thing, we buy from them, we exist, we coexist. So that is why I want to say, why are we not looking at what went wrong? Why are we not fixing the problem? Because that is my own thinking. The first thing is, I didn't hate anybody. I didn't have any allegiance with any tribe. I didn't have any allegiance with any culture. I didn't have any allegiance with any localities. All I wanted was, I want peace for all of us. I wanted to enjoy Nigeria as much as anybody else would. I wanted other people to enjoy Nigeria the same way that I also would enjoy Nigeria. I didn't want to subdue anybody. I didn't want to be, I didn't want others to be slaving for me or below me in standard. So that was my first thinking. So if you can also think, first thing first is, okay, when did this start? How did this start? We used to coexist. There was no problem. What are the root cause? So you do a root cause analysis, okay? And while you're doing that, at the same time, you need to make sure that you have your mind, you need to set your principle. And that principle must not be based on emotions. It must not be based on culture. It must not be based on tribe. It must be based on value and virtues only. So value and virtues, they don't have color, they don't have tribe, they don't have traditions, they don't have all of these things that you're allowing to drive you. We humans are the one that dictate to our world. It's not the other way around. People have started to turn things around in such a way where their culture is dictating for them. Their tribe is dictating what they should do or what they should not do. So they're no longer losing their mind. They're no longer losing their thinking faculty. So you need to turn that around, that you are the boss of the world as an individual, and choose right, choose thinking, choose values and virtue. Instead of you choosing to go by tribe, choose to go by values. If you're going to choose by to go by the people emotions, instead of emotion, choose virtue. So you have value, you have virtue. They are choosing. Yeah.
In addition to what you're saying, in addition to this, what you're saying, also to be rational about your thinking, and to also add to that is, ask yourself, what was the genesis of this, which we have discussed in the beginning of this video. What was the genesis? Why are the Fulani people behaving the way they are behaving? We said it clearly. First of all, is the failure of leadership in the country. Secondly, there is issue of climate change. We're losing our forests, and the Fulani people are forced to survive. They are forced to act that way because they want to survive. If they don't have their cows, they are not workers. They cannot teach in school because they don't have any formal education. Their only medium of survival is their cow. As they miss that cow, as they keep losing them, they are now stranded at home. They don't have any work to do. The young ones, no money to eat. The next thing they're going to is kidnapping. They want to kidnap to make money. They want to join Boko Haram. They want to join armed robbery. They want to join money ritual and all sorts of things. So these are the implications of not accommodating them. So we have individual role to play. The government also have their role to play. But what we are talking about today is what we can do as individuals, which Mayowa has addressed, which is the psychological aspect of this, and looking at the values, look at the principles, the way you apply your emotions in judging these cases. I'm not a fan of Islam. What is a Muslim person? I despise Islam, not Muslim. I want to make it clear. I'm not a fan of Islam, no, that of Christianity. I'm not, although those traditions push them away. But how do I manage, to engage in conversation with even people that have values that I do not fancy? Is because I'm able to use my mind and to see beyond sentiment, to see beyond all the emotions that are flying around, and to see that, okay, why are they behaving the way they are behaving? Because certainly something is pushing them to act that way. And what is that thing that is missing? It is that thing that we are looking for to fix right now. But I would like to hear your opinion before we go to the economic that is still hanging about the psychological implication of this and what what will happen, because it's like you said the Fulani are barbaric, they are killers, headmen. Now you are now turning to a barbaric
The same
person
thing. Yeah.
trying to attack them. What will happen to you after you get rid of the Fulani? What will happen after?
Your barbaric behavior doesn't stop there. Your barbaric behavior doesn't leave you as a human being. It develops, it grows. But I don't want us to rush this, because we're talking about really deep issues that on their own, each topic could take hours and hours to discuss, to flesh out. So I don't really want us to rush it. I still want us to talk about these basic aspects and like an overview, to put an overview out there so that people can join us in the future in this conversation. It's a conversation that everybody needs to engage in. Nobody is an expert on this, and nobody is an amateur on this issue. If you're human, if you're Nigerian, this issue concerns you. It doesn't matter what language you speak, it doesn't matter where you're from, human and Nigerian, this issue affects you. Either one, you could just be human, or you can just be Nigerian. Either way, it affects you. So I want us to talk, I want us to kind of like flesh out some of the reasons why, for me, I think that we should really look at the questions and why Sunday Igboho is an opportunist, in my opinion. And I want to put forward some of the things that I feel like we do, not just Sunday. Sunday is also a victim of his upbringing, his environment, and is also a victim of other opportunists. Okay, so the other opportunists are also other people that already have biases towards Fulani, have biases towards other tribes. So those people also latch onto this and latch onto Sunday Igboho to push him forward. It's like the clash of opportunists in this. Yeah, so they are all opportunists in my view. And I would give a reason why I think that they're all opportunists. We've already defined opportunists. So lacking principle and lacking planning. There is no planning. Sunday Igboho did not plan this. Okay, is somebody that just happened that the Fulani came from. This is what I understand. Anybody can correct me if this is not what happened. So they came to his town and or his village, and he stood up to defend his town, his villagers, the young, the old, and everything. It's a noble act to do that, and that should be commended. But it shouldn't be Sunday Igboho alone that does that. It should be all of us that does that. But we need to do that in a principled and a measured manner. So he did that. Well done. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for not turning a blind eyes and allowing people to be women to be raped, or children to be killed, or farms to be destroyed. Thank you for standing up. But that is where it ends. At that point, you didn't plan this to happen, and you don't have the principle for it. There's no need for you to keep on riding on the back of this tragedy that is happening. So you are riding on this is to Sunday Igboho. You're riding on tragedy to promote what? I don't really understand, because now he's currently been captured or arrested, and what gain do you have? What benefit or has it been since you captured them? So let me go back before I go, because I'm to me now, I really want people that are listening to understand this. Okay, the reason why I said is an opportunist. So first of all is, again, that event happened, an planned event, something happened, and it took courage. Okay, at the point where he took courage, everybody commended him. He was happy. Thank you. Then he went on to then claim some fetish power, some superior power from fetishness or Yoruba gods, lesser gods, that gave him the ability. Not only that comes out of ignorance, you relegated yourself. You are saying that you didn't really have that power, you didn't really have that ability. It was because of a god that you want. And you know, I think that you do that so that people can revere you more and believe that you have something, but you're not doing anybody any favor, nor are you doing yourself any favor, because you don't have any power. The only power that you have is the power within yourself to think, to strategize if you wish to, but you don't have any supernatural power. Nobody does. It's the stupidness of African. If you had supernatural power, or Nigerians, if you had supernatural power, spread that same supernatural power to stop them. You know, your supernatural power should not involve violence. Your supernatural power should just involve speaking. Okay? All you need to do is just speak and say, Fulani, don't come here anymore.
Yeah.
Change your ways. That is true supernatural power, not the dithering. I really want to be measured in this program, not the fake bluff of
Lori,
you know, Lori Raw. You know, you've got some supernatural power, and the people that you are deceiving are also deceiving you to believe that you do. Your supernatural power should be wherever Fulani are, and I speak to their consciousness, I speak to their mind. They must not do this. How can your supernatural power be the same thing? Carrying weapon, shooting, running around, hiding everywhere, doing fraud, okay, carrying weapon, stealing from other people. Does it even make sense? It doesn't make sense. And this is why people need to think. The followers, they are hailing, oh, Igboho, blah, blah, blah. You're stupid to even think that his supernatural power woke up as soon as they came to their town. That tells you that that is a biased power. That power does not carry any weight. It only works within their town. Because if it didn't work within the town, even though I don't believe it works within the town, but let's say he did have that power, he was only able to use it within the town to turn away the Fulanis. Okay, at that point, that is a chance. That is a game of chance. Because if he truly has power and he's been quiet all this time, the Chibok girls were kidnapped. Hush, hush. Where were you Sunday? And your people, and the people, they are human beings as well. You kept quiet. Nobody said anything. Those lives were destroyed. I want everybody to remember that. Look, your life, it doesn't matter how rich you are, it doesn't matter what supernatural power you think that you have, it doesn't matter what opulence you enjoy as an individual Nigerian. Your life is only as good as the least person in Nigeria. Your life is only as good quality as the quality of the least person that enjoys the way the person, the lowest of the lowest in Nigeria, enjoy the life, is how good your life is. Because your private jet is not going to take you through the roads where they are kidnapping people. Okay, so you can't go there. So shame on you that you cannot walk around where the Fulanis or the killers and the kidnappers are. Shame on you. Your life is only as good as the least person. You are bound.
How long can you keep running?
Exactly. You are bound to a space that is safe. You are a prisoner in your own country. You are a prisoner in your own home. So when we don't do things right, we all suffer. It's not, and this is part of the problem where we didn't pay attention to. When the Northerners are suffering for so many years, they're still suffering. We say, I've heard, my friends have said this, that, okay, well, they're suffering because of their leaders. Their leaders make them suffer. They believe their leaders. Why didn't we stand up for them even when they were believing their leaders? Why didn't we tell them that there's a better way? Why didn't we do something? We must fight for the truth. people fight for our freedom all over the world. People fight for me as a woman. The people that fight for me, that they're not even benefiting from what I enjoy. As a black person, historically, the people that fought, that suffered, that died for me. What are you guys willing to do? Is the best you can do is to exacerbate the violence, to hate, to divide, so that you can rule. But it's not going to work.
To be frank with you, I'm a northerner myself, but I'll be honest with you. The northerners are not worried about the situation. When Boko Haram started, for example, they were cheering them. They were saying, "Go boys, go boys." When they hear bomb, boom, in one church, they will say, "Allahu Akbar." They will cheer them up. They hear they kill Christian in the road, they cheer them up. They kept cheering them up until they started bombing mosques. Kano Central Mosque was bombed. More than 100 people died in the process. So there is that complicity. This is what I keep saying. We are asking our people to think in a particular manner, but for example, asking them to stand up for the northerners, because we know that what affects them will eventually affect us. We know this thing. We know the reality.
Yeah.
But the northerners are not bothered. One, they are not condemning the violence. They are not saying anything. They are not protesting. In short, their religion is even telling them that they should not protest, that they should just sit down. In short, protest is haram. That's what some of the preachers are putting on the street. So how can you convince a southerner that, look, this is the people? This is where the debate is getting to.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is the first time I'm going to hear you admit that you're a northerner yourself. You never said to me or admit that you're northerner, but it's interesting to hear that from you. Yeah. It's interesting, even though I knew that in Nigeria you fall into 3 categories, but you always made it clear that there's other categories. Anyway, that's not the subject for today. It's another subject. So how can you convince the northerners who were not bothered in the first place? This is all symptoms of problems that were created, or problems that we neglected, should I say. Okay, so a northerner that wasn't interested, just like we are both guilty. All parties are guilty of this. We also were not interested in the suffering of the northerners, in the ill treatment by their leaders, because it didn't affect us. I'm not Muslim. I don't live in the north, so I don't have to abide by any of their nonsense. Okay, so we all turn a blind eyes in every corners of Nigeria, all angles of Nigeria. We all turn a blind eye. So we're all suffering from the same disease, but we can only cure ourselves when some of us start to understand that we have this disease, but we are the one that have the power to cure that disease, and that disease is self. So the disease of I'm only looking after myself, self-preservation is called, that I'm only going to look after myself. I don't care what happens to other people. This will continue. So the way we can help northerners is to support them, to educate them, is to give them the tools that are needed to understand that these people are using you. There's people that want to deceive you. Let us empower you. We are not the enemy. We are your friends. We are your family. We are part of you. There's nothing separates us. When you can appeal to people's consciousness. It doesn't matter.
Sorry for cutting you short. We are running out of time, but I would like to hear your final thought in 3 minutes before we go. But this is not the end of this conversation. We are coming back. We have listed almost 4 topics. We haven't even finished with one. We're just like trying to brush it. We're just like in the surface where you're just saying. So I think we'll do this. We'll fix another time again. Either, I don't know, later or tomorrow or next tomorrow, any moment. But anytime I will write you, then you tell me when you're free. We'll organize it. We will have to come back and address all these topics beyond that the other. I don't know. Someone might stumble upon this conversation either on YouTube or Facebook, anywhere, and we don't know what this might do to your mind, because we have to speak up about it. So please, briefly, your final thought about it before we go.
Yeah, so my final thought is that first of all, I will stand by my response, which is to the question today: is Sunday Igboho an opportunist? I said that he is, but not only is Sunday Igboho an opportunist, it's also a victim. And you also, the majority of Nigerians that are supporting agitation, the people that are supporting Sunday Igboho blindly, they are also opportunists. But until you come to identify yourself, it's not good me identifying. If you identify yourself based on the definition of what an opportunist is, check it out on Google yourself. Identify yourself and be honest with yourself. To yourself, be truthful at least. Then this is a flat tire issue. We are going to forever discuss it. And this is not what I just want. I just don't want us to discuss it. I want us to resolve it. So as we're discussing, we're also resolving it. So that is the only consideration that I have in order to engage in this. If I'm not willing to resolve it, I will not engage. And it's my willingness to resolve that has prompted my engagement. So I hope you also would engage in this if you're listening to me. Find out facts, okay? Abandon emotion, abandon your tribe, abandon culture, abandon a lot of things that are hindering you from being truly human. So unless you're willing to do that, then we will continue this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your thought are vivid, and I know you have a lot to say, but like I said, we're going to stop here. So you have to give me time so that we'll come back to you, because I need to capture all your thoughts about it.
Yeah, you caught me today because we started this conversation actually on Clubhouse,
Yes.
or on Clubhouse. So for those of you, look for MAGAJI Ada in Clubhouse. My name on Clubhouse is quite long, but if you type in Mayowa Olaiya, you will find me also on Clubhouse. So because it's quite easier, it's a little bit more easier, and more people can join us in Clubhouse. I think it's low data, and it has low demand for data. So a lot of people go on there.
So people with low data, they can be able to access it without.
Yes, because it's like radio. It's like downloading a radio, so it doesn't cost as much as the video on YouTube. Okay, that's what I think. Anyway, so you can join us in Clubhouse, but in terms of giving you time and dates, Ada, I'm always willing whenever you call me. You know that. So let me know, give me advance warning, and I'll try my best to make time.
4 topics: political, economic, and is she gone? The network.
Climate.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Clear. All right. Okay. So I'll write you, I'll inbox you, and then we fix the time for it. So please, if you're watching us, please just share this video. Share it with your loved ones. Let us initiate a conversation around this. Violence will not take us anywhere. It will only create more problem, more cases of the loss of life, loss of properties, loss of energy, important energy that you're supposed to love your loved ones, protect the society, So we have a lot to discuss. I want us to come back again. I have to do something briefly, but we'll come back certainly, surely, and discuss the next topic. So catch you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.